Psalm 91, the most powerful prayer in the Bible. Beloved, what if I told you that within the pages of Scripture lies a secret, not just a verse, not merely a chapter, but a spiritual code, a living revelation? Psalm 91 is more than poetic comfort. It is a divine blueprint for those ready to live beyond fear, beyond circumstance, beyond limitation. This is not just a psalm to be recited, it is a consciousness to be embodied. Psalm 91 is the sacred agreement between the soul and the spirit. It is the covenant of the awakened. It speaks to the one who dares to step beyond surface religion and enter the holy chamber of inner trust. The words are ancient, but their power is eternal. They vibrate with the energy of the Almighty, echoing into every corner of your reality. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High. This is not about visiting God in prayer once a week or calling out only in crisis. It is about living, breathing, moving, and thinking from a place where you know, not just believe, but know that the divine presence surrounds you, upholds you, and flows through you as your very life. This psalm was not written for the timid. It was not designed for those satisfied with surface faith. It is the prayer of those who dare to go inward. It is for the one who will no longer bow to the chaos of the world, but will instead rise into the shelter of divine consciousness. It is for you, the chosen, the seeking, the spiritually hungry. Tonight we will walk through 5 revelations hidden in this sacred text, not as theologians, not as passive listeners, but as spiritual creators, manifestors of divine protection, aligned with heaven on earth. We will not merely speak of God, we will speak from God. Psalm 91 is not a plea, it is a declaration. It is not a request for safety. It is the song of the soul that has discovered that safety, peace, abundance, and strength already exist within. It is the voice of the one who has touched the hem of the infinite and knows they can never be touched by harm again. Let us go deeper now, past the surface of words, past the veil of tradition, into the living power of the Most High. For the one who dwells in the secret place shall lack no good thing. This is not poetry, this is law, this is promise, this is power. Welcome to Psalm 91, the most powerful prayer in the Bible. The secret place is within you. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. With those opening words, Psalm 91 does not invite you to merely read, it beckons you to enter. But the question that must be asked, the question most overlooked, is this: where is this secret place? For centuries, humanity has searched for it in temples, in rituals, in mountains and monasteries. But the truth has always been this: the secret place is not found by walking miles or climbing altars. The secret place is within you. It is not made of bricks and mortar, but of awareness and stillness. You dwell in the secret place when you turn your attention inward, when you recognize that the Most High is not somewhere beyond the sky, but is the very breath in your lungs, the awareness behind your thoughts, the silent witness in your soul. This place is not visited with noise or striving. It is accessed through stillness, through deep inner attention. In the busyness of life, in the chaos of outer circumstances, the mind will often lead you to seek safety in the world, in possessions, in people, in plans. But Psalm 91 begins with a call to retreat, not from life, but into depth. It is not escapism, it is alignment. To dwell means to remain, to live, to abide, not to visit. Many come close to this secret place in moments of desperation, in crisis, or during a powerful sermon or prayer. But few remain there. Why? Because the world pulls at the senses. It demands your attention. But the one who truly understands Psalm 91 knows that the secret place is a sanctuary you carry within you always. It is the only real place of power. It is the holy of holies in the temple of your own being. So what does it mean to abide under the shadow of the Almighty? In spiritual language, to abide under someone's shadow is to live under their protection, to walk in their influence, to be covered by their presence. But the Almighty is not a distant ruler casting a shadow over the earth. No, to abide under the shadow of the Almighty is to walk in the felt consciousness of divine nearness. It is to carry within you the conviction that God is not watching you from above, but expressing himself as you. When you accept that the Most High dwells within your own awareness, you step into divine immunity. Not immunity from life's conditions, but from fear, from instability, from the illusions of separation. The storms of life may howl, the winds may shake the trees, but the one who has built their home in the secret place remains unmoved. Why? Because they are no longer living by outer appearances. They are living from inner truth. While others scramble for safety in outer systems, the spiritually awakened one knows that real safety, real protection, real deliverance is born within. It is not external fortresses that guard us, it is the consciousness of God as our very life. To dwell in the secret place means you no longer see yourself as a victim of circumstances. You no longer cry out, wondering where God is, for you have realized that God is the I am within you. That name I am is the key to the entire psalm. For every time you say, I am protected, I am safe, I am loved, I am covered, you are speaking from the divine center. You are declaring truth, and what you declare from that place becomes reality. The secret place is not accessed by begging, it is accessed by being, by knowing. This secret dwelling is not a mental trick, it is not a fantasy, it is spiritual law. Everything in your external world is shaped by your inner state. That is why this first line of Psalm 91 is so powerful. It doesn't say, he who asks for the secret place, or he who runs to God in times of trouble. No, it says he who dwells. This is a sustained consciousness, a state you occupy, not temporarily, but as your spiritual home. Many people ask, how do I enter this secret place? The answer is simple, yet radical. You decide to. You turn within. You close your eyes to the noise of the world and open your awareness to the presence of the divine right where you are. You let go of the belief that help must come from the outside, and you accept, even if just a mustard seed of faith, that the kingdom is within you. This is not imagination in the childish sense, it is the truest form of prayer. The inner experience of oneness with God becomes the womb of manifestation. When you feel turmoil, you do not run, you return. Return inward, return to the breath. Return to the awareness that even now, without effort, the presence of God is sustaining you, that nothing can happen outside of this divine life, and if you are aligned with it, all things must work together for good. Fear cannot live in the same space as divine presence. It must bow, it must dissolve. The secret place is not a place of hiding, it is a place of revelation. And the promise is clear when you dwell in this place. You abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Not under the shadow of fear, not under the pressure of bills or threats or disease, but under the loving shadow of divine covering. That shadow is not dark, it is luminous, it is peace, it is power. It is the kind of authority that does not shout, yet cannot be shaken. So let this first verse of Psalm 91 be your invitation. Not a casual reminder, but a call to spiritual dwelling. Set your intention to live from the secret place. Make it your home not just during prayer, but in every moment. When you walk, when you work, when you wait, let the awareness of the Most High be your foundation. And then watch. Watch as the world around you begins to reflect that inner reality. Watch as the storms pass by and you remain at peace. Watch as the things that once terrified you lose their grip. Not because the world changed, but because you did. The secret place is real. It is here. It is now, and it is within you. The plague, the snare, and the shadow all bow to your inner light. Surely he shall deliver you from the snare of the fowler, and from the perilous pestilence. He shall cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you shall take refuge. These words from Psalm 91 are not poetic exaggeration. They are spiritual law disguised as metaphor. They reveal a powerful truth that no matter how dangerous the world may appear, no matter how real the threats may seem, there is an invisible shield around the one who abides in the inner presence of the divine. This protection is not earned, it is awakened, and it is awakened the moment you realize that all outer shadows must bow to the light within. Let us begin with the snare. The snare of the fowler is not merely a physical trap. It is symbolic of the hidden dangers, the invisible deceptions that lie in wait for the unaware soul. In the old world, a fowler would set traps for birds not out in the open, but camouflaged, hidden, designed to ensnare the creature without warning. Likewise, in the realm of the mind, there are snares everywhere: fear disguised as logic, despair masquerading as realism, small thinking posing as humility. These traps are not laid by men, but by the lower nature of human consciousness. The unaware mind walks into them daily: the trap of scarcity, the trap of sickness, the trap of unworthiness. But the soul that dwells in the secret place is not fooled. Why? Because spiritual awareness reveals that the only real trap is forgetfulness, forgetting that you are divine, forgetting that you are one with the infinite. The moment you remember your true identity, that you are the image and expression of the Most High, the snare cannot hold you. Fear cannot trap the one who knows they are light. Guilt cannot cage the one who sees themselves through the eyes of spirit. You are not delivered by fighting the trap. You are delivered by rising above it, by stepping into a higher state of consciousness. And what of the perilous pestilence? It may be called disease, it may be called pandemic, it may appear in the form of something invisible and uncontrollable, but Psalm 91 says, "Surely he shall deliver you," not possibly, not occasionally. Surely this is not a vague hope. It is a certainty, a law as sure as gravity. But understand this: deliverance does not always mean the outer condition disappears immediately. Sometimes deliverance means that you rise inwardly to such a degree that the outer no longer has power over you. The fear of the thing is destroyed, and once fear is gone, the condition has no fuel to remain. The pestilence cannot dwell where divine light is active, and divine light is activated when you stop identifying with the body alone and begin to identify with spirit. You may be in the world, but the world is no longer in you. You become immune not because of physical immunity, but because you live from a place where truth governs your reality. No evil shall befall you. The psalmist later declares, "Nor shall any plague come near your dwelling." That dwelling is not your house. It is your state of consciousness. If you abide in peace, if you live in union with God, awareness, you are unreachable by the lower vibrations of fear and destruction. Then comes the image of the feathers of being covered, hidden, shielded by wings. This is not childish imagery, it is the language of the soul. Feathers represent divine softness, the loving, gentle, yet powerful embrace of spirit. You are not merely protected by force, you are protected by love. And this love casts out all fear. Under his wings you shall take refuge. Think of this: the wings are always there, but refuge must be taken. You must choose it. You must step into the covering. You must align your thoughts, your emotions, and your intentions with the reality that you are kept, guided, and watched over. But this requires stillness. You cannot take refuge while frantically trying to fix everything on your own. You cannot experience divine covering while clinging to outer control. Refuge is for the surrendered, and surrender is not weakness, it is power. It is the bold act of saying, "I no longer trust the appearances. I trust the spirit within me." And once that choice is made, truly made, the shadows lose their grip, the traps lose their power, the pestilence loses its path. There is a light within you, a light that is untouched by illness, untouched by deception, untouched by darkness. It is not your personality, it is not your ego, it is the eternal spark of the infinite expressing itself through your being. When you dwell in the awareness of that light, nothing from the outside world can dominate your inner peace. That is the secret of Psalm 91. The plague may come, but it will not stay. The snare may be set, but it will not spring. The shadows may rise, but they will not consume you because they bow to your light. This is not superstition, this is law, and law, once known, can be relied upon. You must train your inner eye to see beyond appearances. You must rise daily into remembrance. I am not merely human. I am a divine being wrapped in human experience. I carry the light of God. I live in the secret place. I speak from the refuge. I trust the covering. These are not affirmations to recite. They are positions to assume, states to embody, and when you embody them, the world shifts. The snare may still be laid, the pestilence may still move through the air, but you will walk through it untouched, not because you are lucky, but because you have risen. The fire will not burn you. The flood will not drown you, the arrow will not strike you. This is not arrogance, it is awareness, and awareness is the highest protection. So do not fear the snare, do not tremble before the plague. Do not run from the shadow. Face it all not with your human might, but with your spiritual knowing. Speak from your center. declare from your dwelling, take refuge under the wings, let the feathers of the Almighty be your shield. And watch, again and again, as the impossible bows before the light in you, for truly the snare, the plague, and the shadow were never greater than your God, and your God is not outside of you, he is your very breath, your very being, your eternal anchor. Remember this, live this, and walk in peace. Angels on assignment, you are surrounded by unseen help, for he shall give his angels charge over you to keep you in all your ways. In their hands they shall bear you up, lest you dash your foot against a stone. These are not the words of fantasy or symbolic charm. They are truth, spiritual truth, clothed in ancient language. The angels spoken of here are not distant figures in art or myth. They are real forces, intelligences of the unseen realm, whose purpose is to uphold the law of divine order in your life. They are not summoned through ritual. They are activated through faith. They are not separate from you. They respond to your state of consciousness. Understand this deeply. When you dwell in the secret place of the Most High, you do not walk through life alone. You may appear solitary to human eyes. You may even feel alone at times. But spiritual vision reveals a different reality, a realm where divine messengers are constantly surrounding, guiding, and lifting those who walk in alignment with divine purpose. The angels are not random, they are precise. They are not sentimental, they are spiritual laws clothed in presence. What does it mean that angels are given charge over you? It means that when you abide in divine awareness, the universe assigns assistance tailored to your path. These invisible helpers move ahead of you, arranging circumstances, dissolving obstacles, steering you away from unseen dangers, aligning you with people and events that are part of your divine unfolding. You do not see them with your physical eyes, but you witness their fingerprints all over your journey. A door opens that you could not have forced. A delay happens that turns out to be divine protection. A sudden inner prompting nudges you to take a turn, make a call, or speak a word that changes everything. This is not luck, it is orchestration, and it happens because you are not walking in fear, but in faith. The angels respond to your trust. They respond to the vibration of your inner certainty. When you say, I dwell in the secret place, I trust the Almighty, you release a signal. That signal is heard in realms you cannot see. And the moment it is heard, help is dispatched, but the help does not always look like help at first. Sometimes the angels remove things not to harm you, but to clear your path. They may disrupt a relationship, shut down a plan, or end a situation you thought was permanent. Do not resist this. What feels like loss is often deliverance. What feels like rejection is often redirection. The angels are not sentimental about your comfort. They are devoted to your destiny. And their loyalty is to the divine blueprint that you carry in your spirit, even if your mind has forgotten it. The promise of Psalm 91 is not that you will never face trials, but that in all your ways you will be kept. In their hands they shall bear you up. This is a picture of support that transcends logic. You may not feel held, but you are. You may stumble, but you will not fall. You may be shaken, but you will not be shattered. Because the hands that bear you are not human hands. They are the hands of divine intelligence, responding to your willingness to trust. Now, understand this deeper truth. You do not summon angels by begging. You summon them by being. When you step into the consciousness of peace, of trust, of divine authority, you naturally align yourself with angelic help. This is not superstition, it is law, like attracts like. A fearful mind attracts confusion. A trusting heart attracts order. If you want to be surrounded by angels, live as though you already are. Speak, walk, and choose as if unseen help is already in motion, because it is. You are not meant to carry the burdens of life alone. You are not meant to rely on your intellect to solve every crisis. You are not meant to climb every mountain by your own strength. There is a higher assistance, a sacred partnership between heaven and earth, and it becomes active when you stop striving and start surrendering. Your role is not to figure everything out. Your role is to abide in the truth that you are not alone. From this space help flows. Think of this. The angels are not only there to protect you from danger, they are also there to guide you into purpose. The steps you take in peace, the projects you begin in alignment, the words you speak in love, these are charged with unseen help. Ideas are given to you not in isolation but in communion. The right words come not by mental effort, but by inspiration. The angels are present not only in crisis, but in creativity, not only in danger, but in destiny. When you write, they whisper. When you pray, they strengthen. When you wait, they work. You are never still in the Spirit. Even in silence, things are moving. Even in rest, things are arranging. This is the life of the one who dwells in the secret place. They are always assisted even when it looks like nothing is happening, but here lies the mystery. The more aware you become of this unseen help, the more clearly it reveals itself. Your attention is the magnet. If you live as though you are abandoned, the world will reflect abandonment. But if you live as though you are supported by heaven, life begins to mirror that belief. This is not pretending, this is perceiving truth before it takes form. Angels move at the speed of belief, and so what should you do? Practice awareness, practice silence. Each morning before you act, acknowledge the invisible. I am surrounded, I am upheld, I am guided, not as ritual but as truth. Say it until your heart believes it. Say it until you feel the atmosphere shift. Say it until you know not hope, but know that divine help walks with you, and then move confidently, take action, do what is in your heart. The angels cannot steer a parked car. Begin the thing, and their hands will steady yours. Walk the path, and they will bear you up. Trust their presence, and fear will vanish. You will not dash your foot against a stone, not because the path is smooth, but because the Spirit lifts you above it. You are not fragile, you are not forsaken, you are not walking alone. You are surrounded by messengers of light, dispatched by the divine, responding to the sound of your trust. Angels are on assignment, and their assignment is you. The reward of trust, what happens when you make God your dwelling place, because he has set his love upon me, therefore I will deliver him, I will set him on high, because he has known my name. These words from the closing portion of Psalm 91 are not mere promises, they are revelations of spiritual law. They express the nature of what happens when a soul has made God not just their belief, not just their Sunday ritual, but their dwelling place, the center from which all thought, feeling, and action emerge. The reward of trust is not something handed down from heaven, it is something released within. It unfolds as you shift your center of gravity from the world of appearances to the kingdom within. To dwell in God is not to escape the world, but to transcend its limitations. It is to live in the middle of chaos with a stillness that cannot be shaken. It is to face loss without being broken, to stand in fire without being burned, to walk through uncertainty with unshakable confidence, not because of who you are in the flesh, but because of who you are in spirit. And the soul that lives from this place begins to notice a new pattern in life. Circumstances begin to bend in their favor, not by chance, but by law. Divine order rises to meet them wherever they go. Doors open, help arrives, and inner peace remains, no matter what shifts around them. The reward of trust is elevation. I will set him on high, because he has known my name. To know God's name is to know the essence of the divine, not as theology, but as identity. It is to know that the name of God is I am, and that this holy name is spoken every time you refer to yourself. When you say, I am strong, you are calling on divine strength. When you say, I am guided, you are invoking infinite intelligence. And when you say, I am safe, you are activating the covenant of Psalm 91. This is not superstition, it is alignment. The name of God is not just to be revered, it is to be realized. Trust is not passive. It is not sitting back and waiting. Trust is active spiritual positioning. It is the inner decision to believe what your senses cannot yet confirm. It is the soul's insistence that no matter what the world shows, the promises of spirit are more real. The world says fear, trust says peace. The world says lack, trust says supply. The world says danger, trust says protection. And in this continual choosing, this abiding, a transformation begins. The person who lives in trust becomes a magnet for divine outcomes. They draw what they need at the moment they need it. Not because they are trying to control life, but because they have surrendered to the one who already does. And this surrender is the secret doorway. Because he has set his love upon me, this love is not romantic, it is not emotional excitement, it is the devotion of attention, it is the loyalty of the mind to the unseen, it is the continual turning toward the Spirit as the only source. Most people set their love on outcomes. They say, I'll be at peace when this changes, I'll be happy when that appears. But the one who truly trusts sets their love not on results, but on the presence itself. They say, You, God, are my dwelling. Even if nothing changes yet, I trust you now. I choose peace now. And in that choosing, the invisible begins to shape the visible. The reward of trust is deliverance. Not always from the outer condition immediately, but always from the inner bondage of fear and despair. The one who trusts can be surrounded by danger and yet be untouched. They can walk through the valley of the shadow of death and fear no evil, not because the danger is gone, but because their awareness has shifted. Their dwelling is no longer in the house of panic, but in the secret place of peace. They are no longer looking to the world to define their safety. They are anchored in the eternal, and from this place real change begins. What happens when God becomes your dwelling place? You begin to walk in certainty. Not arrogance, but inner knowing. You begin to expect good. You begin to anticipate support. You begin to live as if the universe is conspiring in your favor, because it is. You stop being surprised when things work out. You stop calling it coincidence. You recognize the pattern of divine orchestration, and you flow with it. The hand of God becomes visible in the details. You see the synchronicities. You sense the timing. You hear the inner whisper, and even when things seem to go wrong, you trust that something higher is being worked out. The reward of trust is presence. When you live from God awareness, you are no longer driven by the future or haunted by the past. You become fully alive in this moment. You realize that the secret place is not a place you visit, it is a presence you carry. You can stand in a storm and be still. You can lose what others call essential and still know you are whole. You can wait with joy. You can pray with confidence. You are no longer performing faith, you are living it. And with this presence comes protection. No evil shall befall you, nor shall any plague come near your dwelling. This does not mean you are immune to all suffering, but it does mean that nothing can reach your core. Your peace is untouchable, your light is untouchable, your future is guarded, not because the world is safe, but because you are kept by something beyond the world. The reward of trust is also intimacy. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. Trust turns prayer into conversation. It awakens the awareness that you are never speaking into empty space. You are speaking to the indwelling presence of love, wisdom, and power. And that presence responds, not always with the answer you expect, but always with the answer you need. Sometimes the answer is stillness. Sometimes it is courage. Sometimes it is provision, but it is always perfect. So, what happens when you make God your dwelling place? You change, not just in your outer life, but in your inner atmosphere. You stop being reactive and start being responsive. You stop panicking and start praising. You stop doubting and start declaring. You become a living example of the promise. With long life I will satisfy him and show him my salvation. That long life is not just quantity, it is quality. It is life filled with divine awareness, divine timing, divine provision. This is the reward of trust, not merely survival, but transformation, not merely protection, but elevation, not merely comfort, but communion. When you live in this way, Psalm 91 is no longer a chapter you read, it is a reality you embody. It is the law of your being. It is the frequency of your life. And wherever you go, you carry that secret place with you, not behind you, not beside you, but within you. And in that place you are forever kept. You declare what you trust, and it manifests. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in Him I will trust. These words are not mere devotional sentiment. They are a living revelation of how spiritual reality is formed. In this one verse, the psalmist unveils a law so potent, so foundational, that if fully understood, it would shift the course of a person's entire life. It reveals this eternal truth. What you speak from conviction becomes your experience. What you trust inwardly manifests outwardly. Notice, the verse begins not with a request or a question, but with a declaration. I will say, there is intention, there is ownership, there is certainty, and this is the key. The moment you declare a thing, especially in spiritual alignment, you give it permission to be. You are not waiting for circumstances to change. You are not hoping God will intervene from afar. You are stating as one with authority what already is in the realm of spirit. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge. This is the soul speaking from awareness. It is not blind faith, it is not optimism, it is knowing, and what you know in spirit becomes law and form. The refuge here is not a place you run to, it is a reality you speak from. Your word is your wand. When your inner declaration aligns with divine truth, everything around you begins to reconfigure itself to match that statement. So ask yourself, what have you been declaring, not just with your lips, but with your inner dialogue, your repeated assumptions, your quiet thoughts? Have you been saying, I don't know what to do, or things never work out for me? Have you been saying, it's hard to find peace, or I always get hurt? These are also declarations, and the law does not discriminate. Whether you speak blessing or fear, the subconscious receives it as instruction. It manifests accordingly. That is why this verse is so important. It doesn't merely describe what God is, it teaches you what to say about God. And more importantly, what to say about your relationship to God, my refuge, my fortress, my God. These are personal, possessive declarations, not borrowed theology, not cultural tradition. These are the words of someone who has claimed their divine inheritance, who has moved from belief to embodiment. You must understand, spiritual life does not respond to pleading, it responds to alignment, and alignment begins with assumption. When you assume God is your source, your shield, your fortress, you begin to live from that assumption. Your choices change, your posture shifts, your atmosphere begins to respond. The outer world mirrors back the state you have adopted within. If you declare trust, you are establishing an energetic blueprint that reality will fulfill. The moment you say, in Him I will trust, and feel the truth of it, you have moved the mountain. But here is a deeper mystery. The declaration must be felt, not just spoken. Words alone are hollow, but words spoken with feeling, with conviction, become creation. Feeling is the bridge between thought and form. That is why the psalmist did not say, I hope He will be my refuge. He said, He is my refuge. This is the sacred power of present tense faith. You do not wait to feel safe before declaring safety. You declare safety before the danger passes. You speak healing while still feeling the wound. You proclaim peace while the storm still rages. This is not denial of reality, it is dominion over it. It is the authority given to every spiritual being who recognizes their oneness with the divine. When you declare what you trust not as fantasy, but as fact, you align yourself with the rhythm of the Most High, and that rhythm brings all things into order, peace, and wholeness. You must remember, the universe is responsive. It is not static, it does not operate by chance, it operates by law, and the first law of creation is this: you create through consciousness. Your spoken word, when aligned with belief and emotion, carries the energy of spiritual command. You do not need to know how the manifestation will unfold. That is not your role. Your only task is to claim the truth and rest in the conviction of its reality. This is why the psalmist doesn't spend time explaining or defending the nature of God. He simply declares it. He is my refuge and my fortress, period. No disclaimers, no caveats, just truth. The power of spiritual life is in its simplicity. When you trust God fully, you do not explain away your trust. You embody it. Your word becomes law because it springs from inner knowing. So what happens when you truly declare your trust? Fear loses its grip, worry melts away, anxiety begins to dissolve, not because you force them to go, but because your inner declaration has made them irrelevant. You no longer entertain them. You have spoken a new word, and that word begins to write a new script for your life. When you say, my God, in Him I will trust, you are doing more than quoting Scripture. You are activating a spiritual vibration. You are tuning the frequency of your life to divine harmony, and once that frequency is set, it draws into your experience the people, the resources, the answers, and the protection that match your declaration. Every time you declare God as your refuge, you reinforce your dwelling in the secret place. Every time you say, I trust, even when your emotions tremble, you choose faith over fear, and faith, once chosen, begins to shape your reality in unseen but unstoppable ways. Do not underestimate the power of what you say. Do not dismiss your declarations as mere words. Every sentence is a seed, and the seed sown from your inner conviction will bear fruit in your life, some 30, some 60, some 100-fold. You will see it, you will live it, not because you begged for it, but because you declared it. So speak, beloved, speak as one who knows. Say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in Him I will trust. Let this be more than poetry. Let it be your foundation. Speak it in the morning before the world begins. Speak it at night when doubts try to rise. Speak it until it becomes your reality, and it will become your reality, because what you declare with feeling and faith must manifest. This is the law of spirit, and Psalm 91 is its purest expression.